Hello everyone. Alright, today we're going to go over the various tools you can use to better navigate and understand the DISARM Foundation Frameworks. So the first thing you can do is go to the DISARM Foundation website and click on Framework. And then down below you have the links to the various tools. So first we're going to check out the DISARM Framework Explorer. Now, one thing to note is that the DISARM Framework Explorer is not, at this moment, the most up-to-date version of the framework. But anyway, that would be the Navigator, which we will check out next. But first, we're just going to look at this. So first you have a summary of what is DISARM, which is always good to answer. Next we have DISARM Objects, which is more like definitions. So if you want to know the definition of a framework, you can click on Frameworks, and you have the different frameworks that are within DISARM. If you want to know the different phases within a framework, you have the summary of what a phase is at the top, as well as the different phases that are within DISARM. So within this page, you have the red framework and the blue framework. The red framework is to chart online influence campaigns and their tactics and techniques. So at the very top, you have the phases of an online campaign. Below that, you have the tactics in white. And below that, you have the techniques in gray. So with the tactics, you can select the text, and this will show you a page that has a summary and any other information that might be of use. Within the techniques, you have gray spaces, and if you click on the gray, you are able to highlight it to green. And if you click it again, it gets rid of the highlighting. If you click on the text, that will also take you to a page that has a summary of what the technique is, as well as any other interesting information. All right, so down below this, you have the blue framework. This is to respond to online campaigns. At the very top, you have the tactics. You can also click on these and have a summary. And below that, you have the techniques, which you can click on, and they, wouldn't you know it, also have a summary. So you can utilize that at any point in time. It also works the same way, where if you click on it, it is highlighted. All right, so next we're going to look at the Navigator. This is currently the most up-to-date version of the red framework. So within Navigator, you click Create New Layer, and then you select DISARM. That will show you the DISARM red framework. At the very top, you have the tactics. Below each tactic, you have the associated techniques. And if you click on the gray bar next to a technique, you have the sub-techniques associated with each technique. Now, if you want more information on a sub-technique, you can left-click and click View Technique, and that will show you a GitHub page which has a summary and any other information. Additionally, you can left-click on a technique, and that will also take you to a GitHub page that summarizes what the technique is. All right, so there are, within the Navigator, different ways to view the framework. Some of the things you can do are within the matrix configuration. You can change the labels. So let's say you wanted to show the alphanumeric IDs. You can click on that, and you can see those have been added. You can also get rid of that by clicking it again. Additionally, you can change the layout from a side layout to a flat layout. And the main thing that does is when you click on the gray tabs, the sub-techniques appear below a technique, as opposed to coming out from the side when you're in the side layout. All right, so let's say you're done with that, you can click it again. Other things you can do, you can expand the sub-techniques. So this is the framework with each of the sub-techniques, or all of the sub-techniques expanded, and then you can collapse that, and you're back to the normal framework. Additionally, you can click on various techniques and you can make them disappear. So let's say you want a more condensed version of the framework. You can toggle the state and click show or hide. There we have, and it goes away. And you can do that with any number of techniques that you are not currently using. And if you click on show hide again, you can make it reappear, and you can toggle the state back at any point in time to be normal. All right, if you want to tag a technique, you can click background color and click on a color you'd like to tag it with. So this way you can keep track of which techniques you have been seeing or that you have tagged. All right, so let's say you're done. You can export this to an Excel. That Excel file will have the framework and also show in a color-coded way the tactics or techniques that you have tagged. Additionally, you can download the layer as a JSON file, and then you can re-upload the framework and continue to work on it from within the DISARM Foundation website. All right, the last thing we will look at is the search function, which is quite useful. So let's say you are going through a report and you find something that looks like it could be a technique within the framework, but you're not quite sure where it is within the framework. You can search for a keyword. So let's say they were using a hashtag. You can look at all the techniques that contain hashtag, and let's say you found the one that you think is closest to what you were looking for. You can click select and you can change the background color. If you click view, that will show you a summary of the technique. That way you can better understand if that's the one you want to select. All right, well that is about it for the navigator. Next, we're going to check out the DISARM Word plugin. At the moment, this is only available for PC and it works in Microsoft Windows. So let's pull out a file. So this is a report on an influence operation. So at the top, you can see DISARM is an additional plugin or tab at the top. And within this tab, you can do a number of things. You can insert red tags, and I'll show you how that works in a little bit. You can insert blue tags and add a summary table at the end, or a summary graphic, which is just the entirety of the framework. Where a summary table just shows you the techniques you've used. And I will be going through all this, so keep watching. Otherwise, you can change what your tags look like. If you want them to be highlighter yellow, or if you want them to be a different color, you can change that. You can also clear your history. So if you've tagged something and you don't want it anymore, you clear your history and it will not be tagged, and we will go through this. So, okay, let's say we're going through our report and we notice, aha, okay, it looks like they're using a hashtag. So what you can do is you can tag this by going to choose technique, select the phase that the technique you're looking for is in, and then the tactic. And here we have create hashtags and search artifacts. If we select that, it has automatically input the name of the technique as well as the ID. But let's say that you don't know exactly where the technique you're looking for is. You can use the search function, which works a lot like the navigator, and you can put in keywords. So let's say they were suppressing opposition. You can search for techniques. As soon as I learn how to correctly spell suppress, there it is. All right, so search techniques. Here we have one, we select it, and it's input. Now, let's say you're done tagging for the day. You can import a summary table of what you've been tagging. So that has the techniques titles and the sentence where they came from. So that can help you keep track of what you've been tagging. You can also input a summary graphic, which contains the entirety of the framework. However, as you'll notice, it is a little bit small and somewhat difficult to work with. If you remember, I changed the color of the red tag in here, and you can see the color, which would normally be yellow, is now blue. All right, so if you tag something and you decide you don't want it there, you can delete it from your document, but also you will need to clear it from the history, because otherwise when you click Insert Summary Table, it will still be there. So if you find it here, you don't want it anymore, you can click Delete. Otherwise, if you want to clear all of the tags that you've done, you can click Clear History. It will ask you if you want to. You click Yes, and your history is cleared. All right, so that is the DISARM Word plugin, and those are the 3 main tools that you can use to help you navigate the DISARM framework.